The topic I want to dive into today is how we construct our own suffering through the treadmill of our mental dialogue. And the reason that this topic is sort of front and center for me today is the last couple days I've really been grinding through the startup phase of a new set of companies that I'm starting. And everything is behind, the projects, the deadlines, we're not up to where we should be in terms of, all of the departments are behind. And that leads to, the finances not being in alignment, and you start to see things going into the red, and it causes a lot of stress. But what I really had to do in this moment was analyze my own humanness, analyze my perpetual nature to create worry in the future, in the current future and in the distant future, and remind myself that everything that we're creating, when we're feeding ourselves these dialogues, these mental, imaginary loops that cause us to suffer. Because trust me, the last couple days I have been suffering myself in this cycle of that what if thinking. What if I made the wrong decision? What if I have leveraged myself or over leveraged my time? What if this isn't going to work out? What if I shouldn't have jumped into a new industry that I have no awareness of, and realizing that this kind of mental dialogue really is pervasive throughout, any area of life. When we tend to get into this kind of dull vortex of self-doubt and negativity, and where we feel this undercurrent of hopelessness, we need to remind ourselves that 90% of that is imagined. So what do I mean by that? Okay, if you go back to when you were a child, and when you didn't have so many energetic and perceived tethers to all sorts of outcomes in your life. So when your happiness was not determined by whether you got that promotion, or whether that business succeeded, or whether you were 120 pounds before, your wedding date, or whatever these milestones or things that, loom in the future that we attach to happiness. And they're different for everybody. Everybody's got their own set of goals or standards or things that they have constructed within their mental chasm that dictate whether one's existence is quote unquote happy or miserable, for lack of a better word. And what I started to notice about myself is that, it's an unnecessary mental treadmill that I'm putting myself through, because I've been through startups for the last 20 years, and there's always going to be this level of risk and uncertainty and immense challenge and tons of obstacles. If it was easy, everybody would do it, and it's not easy. But that, getting yourself into this lower vibrational thinking does nothing for one's experience of life. And so I really wanted to dive into that topic today, because it took me a little bit of meditation and a little bit of grounding myself into the reality that everything generally always works out, even if it takes a little longer to push through it. It's about the attitude you have towards the challenges and the lessons and the journey. It's not about that final destination when your bank account has everything you want in it. It truly is, when you look back, about those times when you made joy before, the feast was all laid out for you. And so I think the lesson that I'm trying to bring across is that, you really are your own best friend when you have absolute belief in your own abilities. And it can be small things like, passing that course in university, or, going another day to hand out resumes if you're looking for a job, or putting your best foot forward. Whatever it is, whatever your goal is, it doesn't have to be a huge goal. It can just be that momentum of really reminding yourself that life doesn't have to be so complicated. It can simply be about being joyful in the doing. And that's what I had to remind myself of, is that you can get into this zone where you just feel like it's task after task after task after task, and you've lost the energy and the passion for doing any of it. And I think that that's really when you have to recenter yourself into, oh, I'm sorry about that. That's just the howler monkeys down the road, but you might hear them a little bit. But you have to center yourself in the gratefulness of each and every moment. The fact that your brain is clear, that you can function, that you can get up, and whether it is just going for a beautiful run along the river, or whatever you are able to do in the scope of your day, making the best of those things. Because remember, everybody's always going to have something a little different than you have. You have those individuals that are completely well off, and money is no issue, and they have no purpose because they don't have the momentum or the motivation to push themselves towards that goal because it's easy. And then you have individuals, I've went through it, where you feel like getting to that destination where money is easy is going to, make all of your problems go away. And it is so true. More money, more problems. The more money you have, the more you are responsible to all of the things you manage. So it kind of becomes, be careful what you wish for. But when you realize each next plateau, or on the journey towards that next destination, it's the small, simple things that keep us grounded, that keep us fulfilled, that ensure that we have happiness in each and every day. And it's not the responsibility of anything or anyone on the external. It is absolutely the responsibility of the self. And this actually spills over so much into our interpersonal relationships as well. If you're going through things with your spouse or things with your family. I know when I was younger, I often used to feel like my family was responsible, in my teens, for ensuring that I had a happy, beautiful existence, and I was always having fun. And that's a very youthful outlook on things, probably an outlook that isn't very tethered in reality, but it's often the way that young people think is, my parents are responsible for my happiness, or, my mom or my dad isn't giving me enough or paying attention or creating fun experiences. And as you grow up, you realize that we're all sovereign beings, truly all responsible for whatever crystallizes happiness and joy and fulfillment for ourselves. Nobody else can do that or create that for you. Now, you can be along the journey, you can share things with individuals, but it's not their responsibility to make you happy. And I see this a lot in terms of, couples where, one partner will feel like it is the other's responsibility to make them happy, or to give them, enough time or entertainment or whatever it is that's going to be the catalyst for joy in their life. And like, what a burden to put on somebody else. That it's nobody else's responsibility to make you happy. And that was the energy I was really walking through these last few days, is that the more you know yourself, the more you dial into your own needs, and the more you ensure those needs are met, the happier and happier you are going to be in each and every day, and the more effective you're going to be. Your energy levels go up, your tolerance, for all things, and your ability to really create beautiful things in the world is energized when you are taking care of yourself and continually creating that own self-propelling momentum to bring yourself back into a happy balance. And it is work. There are going to be things that, drive you crazy. There are going to be all of the responsibilities that pile up in adult life. But remembering as many times a day as you possibly can to reach for gratitude, to look at the things that are within your life, that are blessings in your life. In our modern age, with all of the technologies, that we have access to, they're wonderful, but sometimes they take the beauty out of creating. I was thinking about when I used to volunteer at this one old folks home, and we used to bake bread for the residents, and just how much I wanted to get back into making bread, because just the way that it smelt, and the fact that once you had waited for the loaves to rise and you're slicing that warm bread, and just the feeling of things that are made with attention and love. And I think sometimes in our modern world, that's what's missing, is the pace is so fast. Everybody's on this race to this destination that they feel is going to eventually create that happiness, that so often we lose sight of the things that really make life beautiful. And those things are often gently created, and they take time and they take care, to produce. And so just like, baking that beautiful bread, I had to remind myself over the last couple of days that things take time to come together. Not anything worth having is instantaneous, and it takes time, attention, love, hard work, perseverance, and a passion for what you are wanting to do and create. And the more that you repeat the steps, and the more that you keep putting your positive energy and momentum into whatever you're doing, it doesn't matter if it's a business, a relationship, a goal, whatever that is for you,